It's been a while. I don't remember what all I've done in the past couple of days. I didn't think it'd be this long. Here's the 389 with the somewhat openness to it, and we are getting ready to spin it over a few more times, and we will drain it out. I got my paint buckets there stabilizing my clean pan, and we're going to see what we get out. I guess I'm feeling it okay for leaving this on. I'm going to take the oil pressure gauge off, and then I'll take this off, empty it, put it back on there, just keep from dripping everywhere. I think you can put the motor back in with that in place. Don't think that there's anything there that's going to hit anything. It looks pretty clear. Could hit the transmission stick, but I'm going to go real slow putting this back in. So let's run it a few more times. Probably can just do that right here. I'm just going to leave the valve covers on it. This is totally impromptu. I really didn't plan on this. So let's not run it too much. So you're anti-clockwise. And then I think it's 3/4 plug. I can't remember. I got a feel for this now. Look at that instant oil pressure. I'll be glad when I'm through doing this. Oh, golly, she just let her spit around and rinse out some. There's 30 pounds, and that's how slow that's going. Well, just to heat up my drill a little bit. And I'll look forward to this day of running this thing being over. I've already had some of this discussion, so I can hear some of the air coming out of it. It's hard to hold the trigger just at that exact speed. Okay, well, I ran it enough the other day. Alright, I believe that's going to do it. I have done that all I want to do that. We'll take our bags and put them here because that's relatively clean there. And we are going to pull this off. And might as well just put her here. I've cleaned everything. It's not too dirty in here. And then these just come off like that. And then these come off like that. And I'm going to take the head bolts out the same way you put them in, except in reverse. Okay. And then, let's see. Let's get this over here. And the heads have a place for heads right over here. And we'll, I don't think that's too filthy, but you know it is. I'm going to lift up that manifold, put it here, go shake this out, go shake these two claws out so I'll have a clean spot for these. Because I cleaned all these with brake fluid and everything. Now, remember, when you change your oil, unless you can tilt your vehicle one way or the other, a whole lot of oil stays right there. And I don't think that's anything unusually dirty. That's what you do not get out on every oil change. And that's why when you run your engine, one of the reasons anyway, the drain backs, that one drain backs real good. But there has been oil up there. I'm proud of that. That's good. And I got to pull those old lifters out of there too. So let's get the old lifters out, put them back in the popcorn container, which I think is right here. A new Orville Redenbacher popcorn container would come in handy for something here. So let's pull those out, pull the heads off, drain the oil. Let's drain the oil first and see what that is. I think that's 3/4. Is that 3/4? Well, I would like to put on a glove before I do this, but let's not do any editing if we don't have to. So what I do here is I'm going to pull this magnet off, okay? And we'll just put it right there. Oop. Caught hold of a razor blade. Is that 3/4? Yeah. Alright, let's just see what this looks like. It's got, it hasn't done anything but run around the block without anything spinning for just about probably 15 minutes. And I'm curious to see what this looks like. Mind frame, I've had trouble staying in frame. I guess you guys have noticed that. Let's just see what this looks like. Well, pretty clean. Well, there are little bits of stuff coming out, and I hate to waste this oil, but I would consider it contaminated at this point, and we'll just put all that right there. Oh, let's just take a look. Yeah, I see black bark bits in there, and we got to remember that the filter is catching things too. It is tempting to take the filter apart, although I will not do that, simply because it's a ridiculous thing to do in this particular case. Let's get my little light. Don't drop it down in there now. That's just bubbles. But I do see black oh, there's some ghost material there. That oil smells bad. And I gotta tell you, yeah, there's some. Now I clean this real good with Dawn and purple stuff and hot water and everything. So if there's any dirt that's in there, like right there, and see, you can see little bits of dirt suspended in there. Now I'm seeing more. Well, I was starting to feel like it wasn't worth it. Now I'm feeling like it was worth it. That looks kind of chalky. I'm glad that didn't run through. Now I'm going to let that drain overnight. I am an overnight let it drain kind of a guy. So let's go pull the oil filter off. I don't think that's on there super hard, but I might need a wrench to get it off. An oil filter wrench. Yeah, I will. So we'll just pull that off and turn it upside. Well, let's pour this into a clean container and see what we get. Probably won't get anything. So let's just see how those feel when they come out. If I got the hot water turned on. No, hot water on. It doesn't take long. Get the oil off my hands. Okay, let's get all this done. Okay, you don't need to see this. I'm going to start the music anyway. Ugh. When was the last time you used one of these and it was just that easy, huh? Not many times, eh? Just had all the clear area you ever wanted. Boy, that's a rarity. I like my little strap wrench thing most of the time. She's still dripping down there. She'll drip for a very long time. Okay, I got a clean pan here. I gotta tell you, I am just tired of washing my hands today. So I want to slip on the glove of love here, which I love because I don't have to wash my hands. So let's just take this apart. Yeah, like they all do, they'll come out on you. They'll leak. Oh, I see dirt already. I don't know, I guess that was, well, I thought it was pretty clean on the top. Yeah, gloves a good idea here. I gotta tell you, I don't think that dirt on the top was there because this was clean. So, well, yeah, you know how it is. It looks very similar to the dirt that's in the pan. That oil is a little darker than I'm surprised by that. So let's just like I say, that's the clean. You only get the clean side of the filter doing that. So anyway, we'll let that drip for a while too. Let's get these heads off and get that clean. At least I'm not stripping my hands and making them hard as a brick like they usually are. Okay, heads off. The claws are shaken out, shook out, shaken, conjugating. Okay, so I just left the oil in them. I was going to drain it out and I changed my mind. Just let it sit there, ain't going to hurt nothing. So what we're going to do now is just leave those head gaskets on there, ain't going to hurt anything. As a matter of fact, I'm going to leave them on there because that's where I'm going to bolt on to put the motor back in the car. Those make good little cushions. Good thought there. So let's uncover this. I'm pretty keen on seeing what we get out of this. Let's put a piece of cardboard there. Had a little oil spill here. That'll happen. Oh, what have I got? Let's put this here. Trying to do real-time stuff. So what I was telling Mick and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, since this is open, I'm going to get my CRC spray and I'm going to I just charged this up and everything. And let's just see what we get out of this. And it'll dry up overnight. And I want to spray it because I want to distribute it. Let's just see what we get out of this. Alright. Woo! No smoking. Alright, let's see what we're getting. It might be a minute before I see what we get out of that. I think that's good enough. I think it's very clean under there. How many times did your dad tell you that oil rags will just ignite? There's actually an Andy Griffith where they say that happens, but actually I think Andy says something about tell Wally not to throw his old stogies in the pile. So that's what came out of that. Brake Clean took a little paint with it. I'm not afraid of that. So what I was thinking of doing was getting, son of a gun. I was thinking of getting a barrel out here and let's put that there, kill some weeds and everything else. Putting a barrel out here and putting a bunch of oily rags in it and I'll kind of do a daily countdown. See if it ever bursts into flames. But I had that drilled into my skull about, every 10 minutes. Every time I did anything, didn't matter what I was doing. Oily rags will at night. Oily rags will at night. So you get to where you believe it, and I guess I would believe it if I was you. But to this day, that's about all I got to give him credit for. But the warning of the oily rags and the undertowed. Okay, so we got that fell over and made a mess. Well, I'm kind of surprised that oil looks so dark. I really, truly am. So I am, what I'm doing is getting ready to pull the gantry cometh. The gantry cometh. And maybe start seeing about, let's see if this still jacks up. Well, I hadn't done that in a while. Let's see if this still works. Let's see if that brought it up any. Yep. That's still working. That's good. Alright, so I'm just doing it with my foot now. Why is that? Oh, it's that linkage thing. Okay. Let's take a look at that linkage. I kind of have thought about that a few times and hadn't done it. That's the kick-down linkage. I don't think there's any real stress on that. And that bolts up to the intake manifold. Got to take the thicknesses of those devices into account when you're doing bolt selection. Those two bolts up there, just off 12 o'clock, you got to leave those there because you can't get them in because of the bulkhead. And I guess that reminds you to check all your thicknesses and your bolts. Now I've already got the bolts ready for the torque converter. Now I got to get the bolts ready for the bell housing. And that's not something that you want to be fussing around with when you get going. Well, let's see if we can get this thing on the gantry. Let me get the bag over it, and I'm going to put the plug back in it. And we shall find thine plug and try not to drop it into the oily abyss. Okay, look at that. I had a feeling that brake clean may strip a little bit of paint. I don't think that that's any problem. There's not that much in there. And I tell you what, there we go. Just firmly. And I tell you what else I'm going to do too. To keep this from dripping all over humanity, I'm going to pick up this, I'll just wrap that, put a baggie around that and some rubber bands. I think that'll be fine. Instead of having all that bulk hanging down there in your way. So let's just do that. Okay, we're getting there, and then let's put the big black bag back on it. The big blue bag with the big brown stains that indicate freshness. Credit Garrison Keeler. And that's about it for Garrison Keeler, as far as I'm concerned. He sure got weird and nasty, didn't he? Ugh. Everything's out of the way and vacuumed. I've vacuumed up underneath her as much as I can. I've got the tracks ready to bring down the. I don't remember what some of this stuff was. Oh, that's just foam for sealing the shroud. So I have to do something prettier with that shroud. I don't want such a pretty engine. I hope it's pretty inside and out and stays that way. So I got everything clear. And I'm just about ready to, let's get this out. This is when I was doing all the electrical work and all. Okay, so the movement of the gantry. Now, she just barely fits in here, this gantry, because of me putting this lumber holder up there. But I might just get a great big axe and just knock that off and put it back on later. I don't want anything in my way. Let me knock that thing out of there. Shouldn't take long. How is it in there? I guess it's some screws. Well, let me just get some. Are those? In those days, it would have been Phillips head screws. It's been a good long time. I swept, cleaned, everything's double cleaned. I just moved this and hit something, so I just cleaned again. So I got the gantry where I want it. I'm ready to take this up and put the flex plate on it. If you dig way in the book, you'll find that it goes on somewhere around 15 pound-feet. Better look that up and make sure. You might want to put some Loctite on them babies. It's up to you. Here we go. Boy, it was a long time ago when I took that off. So let's get the pressure off of it and get it off the stand. And I will just, I don't know if I'm going to drop her in there today or not. What time is it? It's 5:30. Well, I slept pretty good last night, so. Okay, here we go. Up. Wish that thing was a little bit slower. It is, I double ran it, so it'd be a little slower. So here we go. Here goes the weight off of it. Oop, there we go. Okay, so now I should be able to move that easily. See how easy that moves? Oh, it's because it's locked. Yeah, so she's springing about there. And this is the time where you start forgetting the very simple things. Try not to do that. So I hope that I don't spin the motor any over trying to get it. As you can tell, I'll spin her around a couple times before I put her in. But she's at top dead center number 1 right now. And before I drop her in there, I'd really rather get the distributor in it and all of that stuff. So I don't think I'll drop her in there on this particular episode. But we'll put her down on the ground on a big padded blanket. Thank you all who have contributed these. So we'll put this over here, get ready, and let's get her up, get her off the stand, and just push the stand out of the way wherever she'll go, and get the flex plate on it. I just noticed something funny. I was just got rid of the stand. The stand's over there now, but I noticed that my little baggie is full of oil. I'd hate for that to burst and make a mess right in the middle of my day. So let me get another baggie. I guess it just drains back for a long time, don't it? So she's hanging in the air, and that's just step whatever it is, 700. I'm going to put her on the ground to put the flex plate on it because I've got to get a torque on it. So just so y'all can. I'm trained because of lifts to wait a little bit before you hit the button. It's just better for the motor, especially if you got hydraulic motors. If you keep pressing them and letting off, just keep pumping like that, you can blow a line real quick. Okay, flex plate. Very carefully torque the flex plate on. Red Loctite on it. I know that might be a little overdoing it, but if those come loose, it's kind of a bad day. So let's sort out how many bolts I need and the thicknesses, and then we'll call it a day. And I'm gonna have to find a way to, and then pull that up and get some tape on it or something, because I don't want it sitting like that. So I need some snips and some tape, and we're gonna bag her up and then find bolts. There are bolts. They're a castle. This is what I mean about don't trust hardware that came before you. So it looks to me like the flanges, all of them, the 6 bolts, and that's all there is. That, you know, than the torque converter, which ain't gonna hold much. But the 6 bolts that hold the bell housing to the engine have about the equal amount of flange, and it is somewhere in the neighborhood of 41/64. Let's take her down, and that's more or less 5/8. Okay, now you might notice I pull the 2 bolts out of the top after what I just learned. So the bottom ones here, the bottom 2, they pass all the way through. So I don't think you can see that, but that's good. I don't care about a little overhang. So if you got the British high collar locking washers and a washer, then you're in pretty good shape. And you've got that nice smooth shank right there. These are the next ones up, the next 2. And you're right there in it. I mean, good enough to make that happy. Now this is the bolt that was in the top, that was in the motor. And as you can tell, if you got a washer on that thing, you got a full 40% of thread you ain't grabbing. So my suggestion would be that you don't do that. I want every thread on that I can get. This is the other bolt that came out of the top of the bell housing, and they're not uncommon. And so you need something a little longer. And I don't know what I've got here, but this, I'm going to leave that on there because see, that's a little bit longer, and I don't know, I have to sort it out, but I'm going to get something a little bit longer than that, because that's just not going to please me, and I'm not going to be happy driving. The driving experience will be diminished with that on my mind. You got to have this. You got to have this kind of stock, okay? Because I ended up with this, and it's about 1/4 of an inch longer, and you end up, instead of losing that much, you get this, and I know that that's not 5/8. So I was able to find 2 in there. So I'm going to be getting the maximum amount of thread, and I'm not saying that the factory didn't put these in there, but 5/8 is quite a bit of measure. So see, I'm going to be getting about 20% more. So you take that one and see how far into the block you go. Well, you got to kind of, let's figure in the washer. It's even worse than that. Let's just estimate the washer. It's 40% loss. And here, I've only got like a 10 or 15% loss. So you can just tell that that's better. So, gotta check every little thing, boys and girls. It's just like that. It's just failure is just right around the corner, and so you just don't want that. So I would tell you what that came off of, but it's off some of Sean's equipment out there actually, and he was going to throw those away, and they're perfectly fine. So anyway, he was going to throw them away. I wanted to keep them. I know you end up with a lot of mess. I've watched Musty 1, and you just end up with a lot of mess. But at least you got a chance of a shot at finding something that works. Any prize, take what you like. Okay, so I've got all my hardware sorted, and I kind of made it in the shape of that. Isn't that cute? And so anyway, that's all ready to go. And so we'll get back on it tomorrow. But I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, sometimes I'm just a little too funny for my own good, aren't I? So be sure and subscribe. Just help me on that. I would just appreciate it if you would. And I'm not going to do Patreon and all that other stuff. I just don't think that's right. And well, that's right for guys that are professionals and they are taking the time to make a video to help you. I kind of get it. I mean, I kind of get the Patreon thing for guys like that. But guys like me, I just kind of want to naturally work here. And what I haven't thought of. Well, let me clean off a spot. About forgot. I had to move everything over here because of the gantry. So I've got my bolts ready for this one, but I don't got my bolts ready for this one. And I'm thinking, if any of you guys got any brand new of these, funny Ford story, when I had the T-Bird, I had a little tiny ear break off the exhaust manifold, and I couldn't find one, and I went to my friends at Mitch and everybody, and they said, oh, there's a guy, he's got millions of them. Mick knows this story. This is a funny story. So I hop in the car and I go right down there, and I go, I need manifolds for a Ford 390 62 T-Bird convertible. I need them. And they said, yeah, we had millions. I used them for door stops. Had them here for 20, 30 years, and we took them to recycle yesterday. Literally like a day or two before. They had held those things for 20 or 30 years, and I couldn't believe it. But I did find some somewhere in Tierra del Fuego or something, and I did get lucky. But just one little ear snapped, and it made it completely useless. And so anyway, another great example of just hold on to them parts. I'd have given them $100 for those things because they were so hard to find. And I'll do almost anything to stay away from headers, because headers, they start fighting you at the motor, and it's a fight all the way to the back of the vehicle. It'll fight you every step of the way. And I've got headers on Daphne out there, and but it came that way, and they sort of set up for it. A lot of room in Daphne to work, but even putting a dual exhaust system on this car was troublesome. So, okay, flex plate's on. No more oil has gone into this, I don't think. Oh, no, that's just bothering me, that reflection. Oh, box tape. Well, I'll just mark it out or something. It's stuck pretty good. So, got these dowel pins. Make sure you got those there. And we are just about ready to drop her in. You have to make sure those transmission cooling lines are out of the way. That seems like a million years ago. That was a video lost. The O-rings and all that other stuff back there. That's something you can get to from underneath the vehicle. I can't wait to get this running and broken in and over on the lift and make it a lot easier to work on it. But first I got to put the motor in it. Other than that, I'm ready to go. All right. Thumbs up, subscribe. Thanks a lot. Let's go in now. It's almost 7. Buddy Holly Love the Strange came on and then it blinked out. Sheesh. It's always like that. You can get, junky songs and they'll play all day and then you get something, oh boy, and then it blinks out on you. Well, way out here in the country, that's the way it is. Learn it, love it, be it. Thanks a lot for sharing time with me. See ya. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow, I hope.